Good morning, children. This video brought to you by the Pence principle, how to not get Me Too'd, basically. And I'm going to do these two last ones, then we're done. Personal Finance 505 by J.D. Sywick. And the Catholic Red Pill. You can find that online. Like you can. Where do I find your books? People actually, those aren't my books. Can I get those online? No. Go to the great shaman and the book shaman up on the mountains. That's where you get them. Hey, Shiv, what's going on, man? I'm going to assume he's part of my tribe. Shiv, what's the name? Not to pick on your name. What's his name? Shiv. Don't mess with him. Okay. Brian writes, Clary, I'm 24 years old, working a night shift at a restaurant. Saving up to finish my classes for my AA degree and then enlisting in the Army for 2 to 3 years. My question, why can't people my age find jobs? I applied to 80 on Indeed.com and nobody calls me back. What's wrong with America? Why do people who are less smart and less experienced get the job over me? Why are there so many shit jobs in America? And I can't even get those. I have the work experience. I'm doing everything right. What am I doing wrong? Why can't young people find jobs? All right, this is like not a 7-headed hydra. This is like a 20-headed hydra because there's a lot of things going on here. So in no particular, I'm just going to go through them. And hopefully I don't forget one of the many reasons why people can't get jobs. Let's start out with one that is unlikely, but sometimes it's true because I looked up, you're in Miami. And Miami right now has an unemployment rate of 3.2. So what it could be, possibly, not always, but could be, is that you stink, you're ugly. There's something about your demeanor. A lot of people who have, autism or Asperger's, whichever one. Don't text. They're both on the spectrum. You see that? Hey. I know you're a shitty parent and that you just gave your kids drugs because the father isn't around. And now, oh my God, my kid has autism. It's on a spectrum. And now you're just like, oh, my kid's great. He has a disease. Oh, I'm a wonderful parent. I get it. I don't need the lesson right now. Okay. But Brian, for your particular, it could be you unknown. Like, see, that's another thing. Nerds don't know why they're nerds. Everybody else sees it, but nobody has the balls to come and say, look, kid, this is where you're screwing up. We all here. I remember getting in fights because I didn't have Nike high tops. Apparently that was a thing. Like if I had Nike high tops, I wouldn't have gotten picked on or had fights all the time in school. Which when you look back at it, it's like, yeah, I should have just brought a baseball bat to school and beat the shit out of those people. But no one, because it's impolite. You know, it's the same thing. Here's the black kid who's 5'8", who thinks he's going to become an NBA. He's going to be Spud Webb. No one has the balls to come in there and hurt their kid's feelings temporarily. Say, look, kid, you ain't going to make it. I mean, you could. We're not saying don't try, but you really ought to think about going to school for engineering or accounting or something. That's where people are true cowards. They don't want to have that conversation. So what you need to do is you got to go up to your, hey, do I stink? What's wrong? Am I socially awkward? Because I don't know you personally. But it could be, not saying it is, but it could be. There's something in your appearance or your immediate behavior that isn't even necessarily wrong. It just isn't conforming. It throws people off. It gives them the heebie-jeebies. Like I was hanging out at the cigar lounge and this guy came in and just to give you a hint, like an idea, he seemed normal. He's talking fine. And if he just kept that, it would have been all right. Then he talked about, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a pretty big liberal. It's like, and this wasn't a regular. It's like, no one asked you. Why are you bringing politics into this? Okay. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And then he's telling us his life story. It's like, oh, all right. So I don't think you'd be too uncouth to do something like that. But it could be something like you don't know. You become inured to your own smell and you're unaware of it. So, go have a heart-to-heart with your good, trusted buddies to give you a swift kick in the ass that you need. So that is. You're finishing your AA degree, enlisting in the Army for 2 to 3 years. All right, here's another thing. All right, even though unemployment is very, very low, it has not been this low since the 60s. This is one, you think it's hard now. Oh, dude, it was way harder. way harder. So it's still hard, but it is very easy, historically speaking, comparatively to the past. But another thing is that I think younger people in general, and this has been increasingly so as younger generations have deteriorated and decayed increasingly, no one's going to trust you guys. I mean, okay, great, you got a degree, but my gosh. I mean, you're 24, you're older Gen Z. The millennials before you just ruined the reputation of young people. And my generation before that ruined. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And this is why I put together the video, don't try until you're 35. Even I don't know why. I mean, I'm throwing shit up against the wall and guessing. You know, it's like, well, the planets are behaving this way. I got a theory of Newtonian physics. This might work. And it explains it for now. But people just don't trust younger people because most young people are not trustworthy. Not that they're going to steal, but it's just like, oh, I got to explain this to you. Oh, I got not to sound like a boomer, but, you know, all these, what was it? Somewhere these millennials came in and like, well, we want to be environmental. And whoever was running the shop, like, look, dude, we make widgets here. Okay. This isn't time to bring your religion of leftism into the office. All right. We work here. We make money. We support families here. All right. We earn our livelihood here. Don't be so. It could be that. I don't know why. But if you are a hardworking young person, do not waste your youth. Like my work ethic back when I was 18, way higher than it is now. Like 3 times higher. I would have proved because I wanted to prove and join the team. No, they're just not going to listen to you. So not until you get a little bit of a gray, there's no reason to try until you're 35. So maybe watch that video. That's another thing, which is also why I recommend you join the military. And 2 to 3 years, that's only going to put you in your late 20s. I don't think there are job opportunities. There are skilled careers, which we'll get into later, that are out there for young people. But unless you have a degree in engineering or something, you're going to be stuck in these low-level type of jobs. And even though, yes, unemployment is 3.2%, no, we're just dying for labor, they're still going to play the fuck around gang. And you're not going to get into that higher level of employment. So you might as well go into the military. That's the only place they're going to treat you like, well, they're going to treat you with respect, but more so they're going to give you challenges that are at your skill level because they're not effing around. Like they're going to test you. They're going to say, hey, this is some things you could do. What do you want your MOS to be or your job? And you choose, or they assign, help you out. And then you get free food, clothing, shelter, tuition, and health care. No better deal on the planet for young people today. None. And then you get out of the military. Then you got a stipend by which you could go and attend school. Even a living allowance, I think. And it's not, and you didn't waste your 20s. That's basically it. So I think you're doing the right thing. Just waiting until you're a little bit older. People are going to take you seriously. You get out of the military and you get a real degree. But I just don't think people take younger people seriously. My question, why can't I find people my age find any job? So in part that do I want to call it age discrimination? No. I think it's more experience discrimination, which is the definition of it. But that's one of them. I applied to 80 plus on Indeed.com and nobody calls me back. That's standard, man. That's just HR bureaucracy in business. Here's one thing that in hindsight, I finally figured out. I always thought that people who are older than me and businesses and HR and managers and VPs, they had their shit together. And then if you spend any time working for a corporation, big or small, you realize they're pulling from the same labor pool, intelligence pool of the population. The management, the supervisors, the hiring people, the HR managers, they're no smarter than the average schmuck walking down on the Walmart aisles. Sometimes worse is the way you get promoted with an institution or within organizations is to obey and not think. So you really have maybe not dumb people, but obedient, clueless people that are robots and drones. They don't think. And so when you send your resume into this organization and this bureaucracy, it'll get lost. They'll think, oh, we have a job. Oh, no, we don't. A lot of them will post jobs that aren't available. They're just doing it for HR or employment law compliance, and they already have a candidate picked out. So you're dealing with a very inefficient, bureaucratic, cronyistic, corrupt organization going through and applying through HR. Anytime you're applying for jobs. So yeah, man, I know. Dude, 80, that doesn't surprise me at all. And it was common for people to send out 100 resumes and what you got 3 to 4 responses back. And that was just response. Like, yeah, we want to interview you. It is very similar. If you want to listen to, Better Bachelor, he talked about the statistics of Tinder or online dating, and how women are flooded so much with so many requests and interests that even if they took the 10, they just took the hottest guys, there would still be hundreds of candidates that they'd have to respond to, and they simply don't have the time in the day to do that. And they're not even being aired. There's just so much applications they get from men that even if they took the 10s, they don't respond to them all. So it's the same numbers almost with jobs. Now it's a little bit different because the economy or the labor market's very tight. But in general, the employers have been the chooser. They get flooded like sperms to one egg. They only want one sperm. And so they become very choosy. And with thousands of applications, now they're using software to sift through them. And then maybe it gets in front of the eyes of somebody. But it's the same numbers as online dating. It's very much, and this is, again, guys, I have spent more time applying for jobs to be employed by other people than I have time setting up. Now, I've worked for myself more than anything else now. I'm coming up on 10 years of not answering to anybody. But the time it took me to set up whatever, asshole consulting, a blog, even programming this, that is a fraction of the time I spent begging for somebody to give me a job. So once again, while you're in the military, dude, you may want to think about scaling up, and when you come out, you don't ever have to apply again. Either you're a very highly skilled programming engineer, something, where you never have to waste your time applying for it. You want them hunting you down. You want headhunters coming to you and you're saying, okay, well, you tell me how much, because I got a better offer over here. You're in other words, what I'm saying is your time spent investing in a skill or a degree or a trade where you don't have to fuck around with applications like this. You will save time. Spend full-time work, going to school full-time for 4 years for a legit degree is going to save you that much work, or easily multi-full times of job applications, begging, pleading, scratching to get by. What's wrong with America? Nothing's wrong with America. That's how it is. This is, I guarantee you, this is how it is all over the place. And these are good times. Keep in mind, these are good times. Why do people who are less smart and less experienced get the job over me? Connections. That's another thing. That's a huge thing, is nepotism and connections. Tina in HR, she has her BFF, Amy. Oh my God. I've seen that happen. I knew an HR gal at .com I worked for many years ago, and she'd just bring her friends in. You know, now admittedly, this was not the most professional organization ever. But yeah, and this was very prominent among boomer bosses. I don't know if it's the same thing with Gen X because I haven't been in the working world. But oh yeah, the old boys network, the dude bro. If you wanted to go work for a company, Cargill is another perfect example. That was 20 years ago. I don't know if it's the same now. But if you want to work at Cargill, which is a company in Wayzata, Minnesota, Atham looked that up. You basically just had to know someone. And that didn't get you the job. There was, oh yeah, we'll do recruiting. That was another funny thing. To show you how shitty the University of Minnesota is. So there's downtown right across the highway from the University of Minnesota. And the law school and the business school are on the west bank of campus. So they're right there. So there's all these employers on one side of the highway. Here's a school, two schools, the law school and the business school on the other side. They would send recruiters over with no intention of hiring anyone from either of those schools. And one time, I think the U of M caught a bunch of law firms. Law firms say, okay, we're going to do recruiting over at the University of Minnesota Law School. But before that job fair or whatever happened, all these law students started getting rejection letters from these firms, and they hadn't even interviewed. Now, don't quote me on this. This is secondhand, so maybe this did not happen, but the guy told me he went to law school there. So I have reason to say, anyone from the law school want to tell me otherwise? Now, you know, it was 20 years ago. And what ended up happening is these law firms were doing it just for PR. They had no intention of hiring these people because they had, you know, they're going with tier 1 law schools and the dude bros and the network and all that. So that's why people are less intelligent. You know, what, Biden's son, what, he's a CEO at some Ukrainian company. I mean, that happens, you know. Chelsea Clinton at 26 ended up working for a hedge fund. Go suck my dick, lady. No, actually don't. No. Going after my daughter, I see. So that happens very commonly. Why there's so many shit jobs in America and I can't even get those. I have the work experience. I'm doing everything. What am I doing wrong? Why can't young people find jobs? So here's another thing. And this is the main point of this. I want to talk about the labor market and the employment landscape for young people and old people today as well. Because I think this is going to continue to be the general setting tone, the main parameters by which the labor market's going to operate going forward. There's what's going to, here's a 50-cent word, bifurcation. Okay. There's two levels. Bifurcation means a separation. There's two levels there. And then ever so roughly, there's going to be unskilled labor and skilled labor. And as I don't even want to call it AI because that's a scaremonger term. As technology advances and we automate more and more and more, we separate and further bifurcate these two castes of labor. And you're either SWAT or you're not. You get a CPA or you don't. And you either make the jump to skilled labor or not. And if you don't, there is plenty of jobs, low-paying, low-level jobs, that's the class you're in. You don't even have an associate's. Fuck experience. You have no skills. None. I can tell you that right now. I don't need to look at your resume or anything like that. But you're 24 now. You're getting around and maybe finishing your associate. You're not an engineer. You're not a CPA. You're not a surgeon. You're not a dentist. You're not a pilot. You're unskilled. And as technology further advances, it's going to further eliminate those jobs and keep wages down. Or if you get too lippy, like they all, $15 minimum living wage, the cities are passing living wage. Like within 6 months, McDonald's had an ordering kiosk. It's right there, right? Taco Bell even preceded them by a year and a half. So because your labor is not skilled, and as processing power increases and things and stuff, and technology in general advances, those are going to be able to be further automated away. TurboTax, the average person can do their taxes now. But if you want someone you need a CPA. CPAs do much higher level taxes. That's where you pay, the extra money. Over in East India, they have doctors. This is 10 years old now, but they were emailing the East Indian doctors X-rays, and and for good money over there, but for a fraction of the cost over here, they're like, oh yeah, they'd analyze the X-rays. So I don't know, they pay Dr. Punjab $50 an hour, which is huge over there, instead of paying Dr. Smith here in the United States $250 an hour. So technology is always constantly going to try to keep costs down, because if we don't keep costs down, then there's no profit incentive for entrepreneurs or companies to start factories or whatever else. And without that incentive, there's no jobs, period. But it's this constant waging of war between, well, I like more. Well, yeah, but are you going to offer, the $10 an hour I pay you, are you going to generate $15 in revenue so I can not only cover your labor costs, but all the operating costs and enough profit to incentivize investors, like invest the money in this factory in the first place? And so what you want to do is look, if you want to be in that lower caste, and lower is the wrong word because it indicates inferiority. Some people just don't want to become doctors. Some people just want to chill the F out, and drive cab. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're going to constantly face wage pressure driven by a profit incentive by investors and owners of the company, more like pension owners now with 401ks and IRAs. People are like, oh, it's the evil capitalists. It's like, well, there's capitalists, but it's also all the unions and the pension funds, the people, mom and pop who have their 401k, they want to profit on the retirement plan too. You're going to constantly fight that battle. And that I can guarantee you, that's exactly where you are. You are unskilled. You're working these low. You experience what? Working a night shift at a restaurant? Go fuck yourself. No offense. I wish you the best, but go fuck yourself. That's not a skill. Security guard right here. I still work security occasionally. That's not a skill. Sit on your ass, be sober, stay awake. If something happens, call the cops. All right? That's not a skill. Sling coffee. Be a waiter. Be a bartender. All right? Bartending takes a little bit of skill. Not belittling any of these jobs. There's nothing wrong with any of these jobs. But you are constantly waging a war and fighting against the financial incentives of the owners of the company, and not to mention technology. You will spend more time dicking around applying for 80 jobs. So what if you took that time instead and learned a very in-demand programming language? What if you took that time instead and got yourself a CPA? Now, it'll take a little bit more time than that. Then you go to the other side. Then you go to the higher caste of the bifurcated labor market. Now you're skilled. And if you're in the skilled labor market, now you have a lot of things working for you. Now people need you. Now it depends where you are. This is not a perfect, oil and water where you're either this or you're either that. There's some gray. Oh, I have my degree in HR. Well, I have a degree in accounting, but not a CPA. Well, I'm a low-level IT guy who just got his CCNA and A+ certification. I have no experience. Well, you're transitioning. You need the experience. But what you want to do as a young person in general is not fuck around. You will waste way more time clawing, scratching away, trying to get a living wage. As it's a thing. Here's another thing. Think about the perfect pissing away of time. All these people that go and protest the living wage. Why don't you go home and learn a skill? Why don't you go, I just want a living wage. Well, okay, fine. And have the laws pass it. Now companies have the incentive to go and replace you with technology. Now the cost has gone up. Now the technology is affordable. It's cheaper. Do you want to fuck around at that level? Do you want to waste that much time? So what young people need to do is when you go to school once and you do it right the first time. You get an indispensable, highly in-demand skill. So that when you graduate, they're coming after you. Recruiters are coming after you. This is not always the case. You still got to apply for jobs. If a recession hits, they're not going to come after you. There's no perfect world, but it's a lot easier when you have a skill that's in demand, when you're in the second higher tier skilled labor class of the labor market, where you're a dentist, you're a surgeon, and people are banging on your door. And now you're freed of that job searching cost in time and investment. Not even investment, pissing away your money. You don't dick around with it. Right? And that's where you are. You're not skilled. You don't even have an associate's. Now you may be skilled, but that's not going to show up on your resume. And you can list, but you're still in that lore. I'm a night manager. You might as well be a security guard. Again, nothing wrong with that. You might as well be a barista. You might as well be a short order cook. You might as well be an Uber driver. Again, nothing wrong with that, but you guys are a dime a dozen. You're general labor. You see this on construction sites. Well, there's the general laborers that just hauling materials back and forth. But then you have your skilled tradesmen. That guy does, I don't know, he does the electrician, a plumber, the roofer. Maybe not terribly skilled, but it's a skill nonetheless. And that's the jump you got to make. So for your individual situation, you're in a great situation. You're going to the Army. Again, no one's going to take you seriously. I'd spend your time, if you got any free time in the Army, you study up, man. You find something that you like. You find something that pays a lot, and you study the fuck up. And you take your classes for free wherever the university, if the Army pays for it. They got a university at the Army. I think it's called not American University, but American something. It's a legitimate accredited school. Get as much credit and schooling as you can in a particular field so that when you graduate, so when you get out of the military, you got your GI Bill. Okay, cool. You can finish off school and you never have to dick with this bullshit again. You're not going to Indeed.com or Monster.com. I don't know if they have Talio Brass Ring anymore. But you're not fucking around with that shit anymore. You're no longer in that lower caste where you're basically begging. I know I'm a single mom of 5 and I never really got off my ass and said I work at McDonald's. I demand a living wage. Well, fuck you. I demand gravity don't work. I demand roses roses are white. I'm trying to think of something that I could scream. I want the sun to rise in the west. That doesn't change the nature of reality. So that's it, man. The short answer is you got no skills. Who's going to hire? How are you? You are commoditized. You are interchangeable. And another thing, when you're interchangeable, that means you're dispensable. You're not indispensable. So they could swap you out for somebody else. Now, smart people, which are rare in these. Here's another thing. In these lower castes of the employment world, your supervisors aren't skilled. They're just unskilled labor that lasted longer than you did, and now they're supervised. They're not skilled. And so they're not going to pick like, oh, Jones here has his own associates almost finished. Like, oh, hey, did you show up on time and sober? Cool. Oh, well, we're firing you now because reasons. I don't know. I mean, these people are idiots. So you don't want to be in this lower caste. You don't want to waste your time protesting, begging, pleading, panhandling to hopefully make other people get you more money. You want it so people are throwing money at you. What? You could program a great video game? Money, money, money. What? You could patch up some lungs? Money, money, money. What? You could clean my teeth? Money, money, money. Oh, you could pour coffee? You could make a Black Russian? You could sit there on your ass like Clary did for most of his life and stay awake and call the cops if something happens? Here's your $6.90. Oh, so there you go. What we got? Any super chats here today? This is the last podcast. If you want your super chats in, let's get them. Oh, wow. Calculated Degenerate, $10. Thanks, man. Marcus Aurelius. Yes. What about him? You should read it. You should read his writings. But thank you for the $10. That goes to the cigar. I might be able to afford a cigar in Poke Bowl today. Oh, boy. It's good to be Cappy. It's good being Cappy. Cigars and Poke Bowl. Here's Erica Williams. I always listen to her. Erica's Clutch Climb. You get $1,500 monthly for your GI Bill. All the men in college had their own apartment card saying they were a veteran. Equals all girls wanted. Yeah? What if the guys don't want you? That's yeah. They went to one war. They don't want to go through another one. Yeah, dude, if you get that uniform, a lot of the brothers, they'll talk about how they're growing up in the ghetto or whatever, the hood, and pants down to here, fucking hat on sideways, looking like a bunch of clowns. And then the one guy goes to the military, and he sends back the pictures on the social media. He's there and he's dressed up, and I always liked you, Tommy. I always knew you. Trickle-down economics will work this. There's no such thing as trickle-down economics. There's no gravitational pull. It floats all over the place. The McDonald's worker who gets his pittance of money and then goes leverages it 10-to-1 and buys a car. That money goes to the CEO of the Toyota Corporation. The CEO takes that money and then he buys a coffee and it goes right back down to the lower class of society. It goes all over. Maurice Sato, $1. The coronavirus. Ooga booga. Yes. I hear cigars fights off the coronavirus. Young and very intelligent. Which should I read first besides Worthless? If you're young and very intelligent, I need to know your specific age, but I'd say Curse of the High IQ for starters. And I would say Bachelor Pad Economics because that's the most thorough. And again, as I said before, it's a reference book. Like there's chapters in there about retirement planning and estate planning, like when you die. That ain't going to apply to you. you know, there's stuff about mid-career stuff that ain't going to apply to you. So you're only going to read like the first 3 or 4 chapters, if that. But then as you age, you might want to consult the other chapters. So I'd say Bachelor Pad Economics. Plus, it's so thorough. I mean, you could just look it up and there's an answer in there. Booty, booty, boo. Booty, booty, dee. Dee, 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 dumb. €5 from Arnold Lampel. My female supervisor is not only hot and good looking, she always would ask me to assume a different position. Bitch. Actually, it's kind of cool if you get one of those, if you get a cool gal or a cool guy, but every once in a while there's that cool gal who's like a little bit more tomboyish, probably had some older brothers, you know, kind of fought her into shape. You could run into some gals that can throw. Although it's so sad, you can't, it's not even flirting. You can't spar. You can't even take that risk. That's what it is sparring. Assume the position. Yes, those tom girls out there, tomboy girls. They're fun. But even then, even if they're okay with it, just hello, Amy. That is a blue dress you have on today. Can't even say nice. Hello, Amy. You look existing today. That's it. Is that it? Oh, wait. No, there's nonstop Dre. Let me. Oh, I got to pee too. Always got to pee. All right. There's Arnold's. Scrolling down. Humble Tradesman, thank you for the $5. You get to say stuff for $5. $5, that's a good donation. Alex Bergosh for $5. I'm just finished HVAC certifications. I'm 18 and going to work for someone and then accounting this fall. Good. There you go. What's wrong with doing HVAC for a while? Do you have to go right back to accounting? Let's drop Dre for $5. Thoughts on me going back into the military after my computer science degree using my GI Bill? And yes, I get a lot of attention from girls. Dude, Dre, I'll tell you, you probably can already guess it. I'd go back to the reserves or the National Guard if I were you. Just so you have the guy. Come on. All right, hang on. Think about this. Dre, you're a not leftist in university who's a black dude who's majoring in engineering. You think you're going to have a ton of college and you're Gen Z. What? You're hanging out here more than anything else. Where are you going to find? And I know you probably like it. We appreciate you being here, but you got to meet up in meet space. You got to find your guy. And you know what? You're just not going to find it. Not at your age group, not at the environment, university. I mean, you could find some pretty cool dudes. Now, one thing you can go to like the VFW, talk to the old timers there. That'd be fun. Or the American Legion. There's other place you could go in, like those fraternal brotherhoods, the Masons and whatnot. But dude, just go back to the military. Just go on reserves, National Guard. You get your weekend fix. You get to make jamoke jokes and picking on each other and hey, fuck face. Hey, look. I can't even say it on Google. Get to make foxhole jokes. Punch each other in the shoulder. Go get some exercise. Fire guns. And you're just not going to find it anymore. You're not going to find. I know it does not compare. But back in the day when I went to college, I worked security we were part of the police department campus cop program. And it was my first real experience out of the home, a real job. And I thought, oh, this is average. This is normal. Had I known what value camaraderie had and being part of a team had as you got older, and I just wish I didn't take that for granted. I didn't know. I have a feeling the path you're going, which is lonely because it's hard and nobody wants to do it, and it's galvanizing. It'll grow you as a man, and it'll make you money when you graduate, but it's also lonely. And you'll be like, where? And dude, just trust me. You're not going to find them. You're not. Go back to the military, hang out with the guys, cut your penis jokes, and you know, whatever fucking horse around bullshit there is to do with the guys. That's why. Otherwise, you're stuck going to the cigar lounge. I don't know how many cigars you can have in a week. It's not healthy for you. That's where I I can't go all the time. Because then you're stuck with meetup groups. Miguel, again. Hello, Amy. You look like you've got potential. Trad lift, $1.99. Compliments of attire is gahay. And where do we go? Alex Burgosh again for $5. Now I'm going to own my HVAC company by 23 or 24, accounting just for financial statements. Well, you don't have to, Alex, you don't have, let me save you money, man. Let me save you more than the $10 you just gave me, a lot more. Then if you're serious about that HVAC thing, you don't need to go to school for accounting. You need to just get a book on accounting, learn a little bit about financial statements. Heck, if you're willing to pay me good money, I can show you how to do the accounting. I can explain it. It's not that hard. You save all your receipts. You go online. What is an income statement? You get an Excel spreadsheet. You put in your receipts and then you add them up and there's your income statement. And then you go hire someone like Chad Elkins at elkinscpa.com. And that's all the accounting you really need to know how to do. But if you want to, I fear when you go to college, they can make you take all this other crap. If you want to learn the skill of accounting, don't go to college. Just go online. Heck, you can even just get software. What is it? Not Peachtree. What is the software? QuickBooks. Get QuickBooks. And it's intuitive. It's not like learning how to put together an income statement is hard. It's not that hard. Nonstop Drake, but I could be a diversity deputy assistant. No, because you are of the P9 people, Dre. You have the P9. You cannot be you maybe could be assistant reserve diversity deputy assistant. You can't be diversity deputy assistant. No. You can't because you are of the P9 people. And we can't have that. Besides, it's International Women's Decade. What the hell we are in now. Boom. That's it. All right. So there you go. Eric, Phil, Frank, what was his name? I don't know. Oh, resume. When I go to these interviews, it's usually some dipshit HR woman who asks the most irrelevant question, like, what's your favorite sport? Do you like to travel? Why did you apply for this position? Oh, God. You understand it's a dumb person asking, and then I'm going to look at my crystal ball and see what the answers mean. Why did you apply for this position? Want the fucking money? You fucking think? Oh, what kind of music do you listen to? I explain all of my experience and how I could be an asset. Dude, just you're rolling with the pigs in mud. Okay? You're rolling with the pigs in mud. You got to get out. 4 years experience in sales, customer service. That's not a skill. It's not a skill. You got to get out of the mud puddle with the pigs. No one can tell if you're a pig or a human because you're wrapped up in mud, rolling around with these idiots. Hey, I almost want to say, but they're so prevalent and they're so out there. If you're interviewing with HR, you're doing it wrong and you're rolling around with the pigs in the mud. That's really what you're doing. But that's that's that. All right, are we done? Are we done? We're done. All right, that's it, kids. Books, things, stuff, links below. We'll see you guys later. Probably a podcast tomorrow. Toodles.